Hey guys, Basil and Will with Grayson Hobby. Today we have the KingKong 200GT. It's a super ultra light quad that can give you up to 15-minute flying time.
Yeah, we got a sub 200 gram quad. It's got a decent amount of features, OSD, D-Shot capable, pretty good motors, ESCs, electronics and stuff like that. And like you said, a long run time. Right. So this is a nice little quad here.
So for those guys who keep asking how long your quads fly, and we say about 5 minutes on the racers, this one's for you.
If you want the longer flight time, this may be the one to go with here, guys.
Camera's off.
It wasn't recording the whole time?
No. Just kidding. I do that a lot, so it actually pleases me.
All right, so this is the 200GT from KingKong, or ldarc. So we have the quad itself
in a nice case. We're gonna measure. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be 200 millimeters from motor shaft to motor shaft.
You think it's gonna be 200? Does it have anything to do with the fact that it's called a 200GT?
Just measure it.
Spoiler alert. At the motor shaft, it is actually just shy of 200. It looks
good enough.
It might be like 195. Front to back, let's see if it's a true X. We got about 140 there, side to side. We also have 140, so this is a true X, so configuration should be super easy and tuning should be pretty easy on it. It's like 190, yeah, 194, 195 maybe, something like that. So somebody's ruler was off in the naming department. This should be the 196 GT or 194 GT.
So this is the new GT 196 and a half.
Yeah, we're gonna make up names for every quad now. What's in the box? We got 50/40 3 blades, so the KingKong 50/40 is kind of like what the Wizards had and all that. This is a slightly different material, probably a little more durable than like the crappy Wizard ones. This is probably the worst part of the quad right there is the props. We have the receiver wires. Okay, so they both have 4 wires coming out, but you'll use 3 wires depending on if you're using S-Bus or Spectrum. 2 receiver harnesses, you get 2 shots of that without screwing it up. Motor guards, that's pretty cool. So it comes with little 1806 motor guards, yeah. So you can, if you're kind of nervous, if you're new, if you want to protect the motor a little bit, you can, kind of like what the Wizard 220 had. Little LiPo strap, rubber bands. This quad's a little big for the rubber bands for the batteries like the ET series, but I guess they just come with them. Oh, that's kind of nice, the little fiber. Okay, so this is tape. It comes with, looks like a whole set.
Cool, yeah.
So if you need to replace your motor or anything like that and work on it, these, this fiber tape right here, it actually comes with spares of that. That's nice. I have not seen that from anybody else. That's actually really cool.
Yep.
And some zip ties, so if you need to zip tie up any wires or antennas or anything like that, so you get that. The manual. Oh, this is pretty nice. Okay, so your instruction manual goes over your basic information, talking about the specs. It has a VTX chart, it has the flight controller chart with the pinout. ESC tells you which way the motor's turning, which motor port it is, and everything. It tells you the power input, 2 to 4 cell. So this is 4 cell capable. I like this. This is something I actually really do like here. Receiver listings, so it tells you how to wire up like an XM or XM Plus would wire up the same. So it shows you a picture on how to install it and a basic information on what to select here.
Through beta flight.
FlySky, yeah, right. This is beta flight stuff here.
Okay. Well, even your radio.
Yeah, how to bind. Right. I mean, this is if you're using that receiver. So they give you basic information there, which should be enough. We have Spectrum. So this is a little different. If you're gonna use a Spectrum satellite, they did not come with a harness that goes to a Spectrum receiver. I kind of wish they would have, one of these harnesses would have been wired up for a Spectrum and one would have been just open for S-Bus or something for the soldering. That kind of sucks in that part. So the guys using Spectrum, you're gonna have to cut and splice a wire. Does not talk about the endpoints and all that. So that's something, if you're gonna do Spectrum, we may end up having to do, if people are asking, if you guys wanna see it below, comment below. If you want to see a Spectrum setup on this one, I guess we'll have to do a tutorial for it because Spectrum's very limited information on this one. I say that's not enough there if you're going to do Spectrum.
All right, enough of this. Let's get to the good stuff.
All right, so what do we got here? So this is the quad itself.
All right, so let's go with components. Let's start out in the end and work our way in.
All right, so the motors, these motors here, if you guys can see, are 1806.
We can't see.
Oh, sorry, hold on. 1806, 2500 kV. So the kV is pretty nice. It's about in par with what a 5-inch quad is, in the middle of the range, but these are 1806 motors, so they're smaller and lighter. You're not going to get massive amount of power out of them like you would with the 2306s that you see on the really high performance quads. But this is not exactly designed for racing. This is more, I would say, a cruiser that can freestyle and stuff like that. Right. They are going down into a 4-in-1 ESC. This ESC, these are 20. It's a 20 by 20 stack, so you can see the hole pattern is a 20 by 20.
20 millimeter?
Yes, 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter hole pattern. It is a stack flight controller. So the actual ESC is a 4-in-1 20 amp, so these are 20 amp ESCs on this, which is more than sufficient for 1806s.
So it's a 4-in-1 ESC, right?
Yes, a 4-in-1 ESC. Yeah. The flight controller, like we mentioned earlier with the firmware version, is a F4, it's Omnibus F4 SD card version. I do not see any SD card slots.
As it is.
I don't see an SD card slot, so I think it just uses the firmware, but I don't think it actually has black box. We'll have to plug that in a minute and check. For the gyro on it, assuming an MPU 6000, yeah, so it's got a pretty stable gyro on it. It can run 8K on the gyro for anybody that wants to know, which is good. It's running D-Shot 600 on the ESCs out of the box. The camera, this is nice. You see this trend is happening a lot. Instead of companies popping out a generic camera that's, you know, the first thing you're gonna wanna upgrade because it's not a RunCam or not a Fox Ear, well, now they're coming with RunCams or Fox Ears. This is a RunCam Micro Swif. This is a Micro Swif 1, kind of like what Diatone's doing. It has a 2.1 lens, so it's a nice wide field of view. So it's a really nice camera for the money. It does have screws on the side, so if you take this screw out right here, there's a little metal arm. So you remove this screw, loosen these, and you can adjust the angle from 0 straight, 15, 30 to 45. So you can get a nice consistent tilt. Nice thing about that too is it also locks the camera in place, so if in a crash you don't have the camera sliding down.
Right.
So that's really cool there.
All right.
So we got decent motors. I mean, they're not designed for like the monster performance like you'd get with some of the bigger 5-inch quads, but this is not what that's going for. But I think these motors are very smooth. These are definitely SunnkySky rebranded to KingKong. It's got to be a SunnkySky motor making them. They are normal threaded and reverse threaded. So instead of a lot of them, like they're all normal threaded now, regular threads, these do have reverse nut. You'll see the black and the silver. So 2 of these are reverse, 2 of these are normal. So you want to keep up with that. You don't want to try to screw it the wrong way and snap it because they are just aluminum. They're not stainless shaft or anything like that. Keep them light.
Why is this fly longer?
Well, it's ultra lightweight, smaller motors that don't draw as many amps. Lower pitch props, again, doesn't draw as many amps. Thin arms, so it's not a lot of drag.
So the pitch props. So for those who are familiar with airplanes or any kind of whatever, the pitch is going to be how much you have in the angle of your propellers.
Yeah.
So the flatter they are, the slower it flies, but the less current it takes. The more pitch, the faster it is, the more current.
Yeah, when it's a pitch of 4, it's 4 inches per rotation of the prop. Okay. So when the prop makes one full rotation, it's traveled 4 inches if it was attached to like a string or something.
Interesting, I never knew that.
But the higher the pitch, the more amp draw it is because it's more lift, I guess, to it.
So unfortunately, with everything, there is a give and take, and taking more flight time, and we're giving the speed, and
you're giving up a little top speed, and you're giving a little the bottom end torque.
Right.
I mean, realistically, that's what you're gonna. The smaller motors are not gonna have the torque of the bigger motors, and the top end speed's gonna be less because of the pitch of the prop. And what we saw the old Diatone video, the GT.
That way, it doesn't like that way for some reason.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah. 102 miles an hour!
Just changing the pitch of the prop changed several miles per hour at top end. But you go too much, you'll burn up the motor.
But it's probably great for somebody who's just coming out of that small micro-ish kind of quads, who wants to get their feet wet with a 5-inch big boy.
Yeah, I think if this is like a first 5-inch quad for you, like if you've been flying brush micros and all that, and you don't want to step into say a 2-inch or 2.5-inch quad, you really want a 5-inch quad, I think, and you already have your own radio and everything, this is probably the ticket right here. I think this is a really well laid out quad. They designed it really nice and clean, simple, easy to install a receiver.
Believe it or not, hovering actually gets you less flying time. I would think that's the opposite, but cruising around will actually give you more flying time. So if you hover, it's about 12 minutes. If you fly it around, it's about 15 minutes.
And if you fly like me, probably 5 minutes. Now moving on.
Where is that camera connected to?
The camera?
Yeah.
It is, the VTX is on the bottom. So there's 2 things on the bottom of this quad. You have a buzzer, so this thing comes pre-wired with a buzzer, which is nice. So you got your low voltage alarm, lost model beeper you can set up on a mode.
The other ones do too, the other
Yeah, this is probably the one downside or the biggest limitation of this quad. This is only 100 milliwatt 16 channel VTX.
Right.
So you can see the VTX, here's the channel if you want to zoom in there real quick, but you can see the VTX has a option to bridge solder to 25 milliwatt. So if you guys are racing and you have to run 25 milliwatt, you can desolder the bridge and it'll make it 25.
Anyway. Too light.
And you could probably race with it, real channels. It has some of the race band frequencies and stuff like that, but it only has 16 channels. I think that's kind of a, at this point in time, I don't think there's any reason for that. There's micro VTXs out there that are, you know, 70 channel or 72 channel.
VTX is on like the KingKong ET1. Looks like it is.
This is the one that's on the ET125 and the 115. Okay. Yeah. Not that it's unreliable or anything like that. It's got a nice little dipole antenna, so it keeps it nice and durable. You're seeing that a lot with quads. People are just running dipoles again. The receivers, goggle receivers have gotten really good, so the dipoles are working okay. Even though this thing can fly, supposedly can fly for like 15 minutes or something like that with the right battery, you're not gonna get like super long range. So it's not like a long range FPV quad. It's more like a high efficiency or longer flight time quad. It does have programmable LEDs on the back. So this thing actually has programmable LEDs. Some of the other quads from KingKong, they don't have programmable LEDs. This one does. So if you want to program the brakes or whatever, turn signal, whatever. But so you could be red, your buddy could be blue, somebody else could be green, etc. if you got a couple of these going. So that, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Manufacturer claims it's 186, I think, 189. This is just without the props here.
Yeah. 178 grams.
Okay, so that's about right, because I said 186.
By the time you add a receiver, lipo strap, and props, yeah, it's probably about 190 grams.
And then let's compare that to like
the heavy beast. 360 grams. I believe without the GoPro mount and all that, it's like 30 grams on that GoPro mount.
The props. So I know you said you didn't like those props.
Yeah, okay, now here's the thing with the props, guys. It comes with 50-40 3 blades for a reason. Don't run quad blade props on it. Don't run 50-46s. Don't run 50-50s, anything like that.
So what do you need, 50-40s?
To not burn up these motors and stress the motors and just make them run like crap and kill the bottom end on them.
Remember, this is a cruiser, not a racer.
50-40. Cyclone makes a 50-40.
50-40. Let's see if we have any. 50-40. Look at that right there. They got the purples, blue, orange.
Say if you're gonna get one of these, probably pick up a couple sets of 50-40 props, because the Cyclones are probably better performance props than these anyway.
Definitely. There's a first look, at least our first look at the 200GT by KingKong ldarc. Next video, we're definitely going to do an install of the XM, or XM Plus, which I had to solder that one in. We will also show you that new cable we have.
Yeah, we're going to have cables made for this.
And the RSXR, so we can give you both ways. We'll solderless. And then we'll go out to the field, we'll get some local pilots out here and
flying footage.
Get some flying footage, because it's way too, probably fast for out here.
Well, the trees are overgrown out there. We need to get them cut. If anybody wants to come cut trees, let us know. Yeah. But anyways.
Low level, not the high level, it's just a low.
But we need to do some work out there to cut it so we can fly the bigger stuff again. And these things are getting pretty high performance and it's getting tight out there. So.
Right, so there's the next video. Subscribe, like us below, and there you go.